In a dystopian future, Earth faced disaster as climate shifts and food scarcity spiraled out of control. Society begins to collapse under the pressure. Cities erupt in riots and protests until civilization finally crumbles.
Well, they made their promises in public. It's secret.
By the year 2242, a mission called the Ark is launched. 42 ships set out to carry 300,000 survivors to a distant, habitable planet named New Earth, located in another solar system. The remaining 19 billion people are left behind with no hope of escape. A man named Noah isn't on the list of selected passengers, but his pregnant girlfriend Haley is. Hoping to stay together, they come up with a plan to sneak him aboard the final ship.
We stick to the plan.
But as the crowd grows aggressive, guards separate them in the chaos. Haley is pulled inside while Noah is left struggling outside the barrier. Gunfire breaks out as the crowd forces its way through the gates. The last ship is launched without Noah. Inside, Haley is sad that she is separated from Noah. She asked to get out of the ship, but her request was ignored. Inside the ship, Haley watches her father, Admiral Kieran, give a speech welcoming the passengers.
I am Admiral Kieran Adams. Welcome to my home.
Haley stands with the others listening to the speech while crying. Suddenly, her attention shifts the moment she spots Noah pushing his way onto the ship.
Hi.
Suddenly, a man pulled Haley and took her to Kieran. He tells him he kept his share of the bargain by getting Haley on the ship and demands Kieran do the same and give him the ship he promised. Kieran mockingly tells him he is lucky that he is on this one, and the man is pulled away from there.
You should be lucky you're standing on this one.
Hold on, you promised me.
Noah greets Kieran, but Kieran looks at him in disgust and asks if he is the guy that impregnated his daughter before marriage. Haley interrupts and lies, saying that Noah is only a man that helped her get on board. Kieran, unaware of the truth, accepts Noah.
I guess I owe you.
No, sir.
As the journey begins, most passengers are placed into cryosleep. Only essential personnel, guards, engineers, medics, and janitors remain awake. Noah, disguised as a janitor, stays up and quietly says farewell to Haley as she's placed into stasis. The remaining crew prepares for a quantum jump. During the rush, Noah accidentally sits in a seat meant for someone else.
Get the fuck out of my seat.
After sitting in another seat, the ship prepares for the jump. Finally, the ship tears through space in a flash. The ship arrives in a new galaxy almost instantly. While only seconds pass on board, over 30 years have passed back on Earth. Everyone left behind on Earth is now presumed dead.
So 30 years passed on Earth?
Everybody on Earth is dead.
After the jump, the crew gathers for a meal. Things take a dark turn when the guards uncover a stowaway. He's quickly subdued with a taser and, without hesitation, thrown out of the airlock. Commander Stanley then reminds everyone that they have 182 days until arrival at New Earth, and until then, he's in command since Admiral Kieran remains in cryosleep. Commander Stanley gives orders to everyone and finishes his speech.
Move!
Later that night, Noah goes to his bed and finds out he's sharing a bunk with Clay, who makes it clear he wants no part in making friends.
Don't touch my stuff. Don't talk to me and do not snore.
The next morning, Noah sneaks a visit to Haley while she sleeps in stasis. He starts telling her what is happening in the ship, but before he can say much, a hologram of Clay appears, reminding him to get back to work.
You're late. Let's go. Chop chop.
I'm going.
Clay then warns him not to push him because he is now being good to him. He then orders him to go back to work. Over the following days, Noah and the other janitors stay busy maintaining the ship, while the rest of the crew spends their time lounging around and playing games. In his free time, Noah goes to Haley to sit next to her and talk to her about new things that are happening. One night, Noah spots Clay and another crew member sneaking around with containers that look suspicious. Not long after, an alarm blares throughout the ship. Someone has tried to access the reactor, a room that only Admiral Kieran can unlock.
Access denied.
The Admiral has access to the reactor.
Commander Stanley storms off to investigate, and though he hears strange noises above him, he finds nothing. He points his gun in the direction of the sound, but he couldn't see anything. Growing uneasy, Stanley asks Noah if he knows anything.
Is anyone acting strange or messing with things they shouldn't mess with? You tell me, right?
Of course, sir.
Noah doesn't know anything, and when asked if he had seen anyone acting suspiciously, Noah kept quiet about Clay. Stanley then warns him that some radical groups want to prevent humanity from colonizing another planet and may try to sabotage the mission, so any strange activity should be reported immediately.
You see anyone acting strange, you tell me.
After Stanley left, Clay came and asked what Stanley wanted, but Noah brushed it off. Clay then warns about the chemical he is using, telling him it is strong, and left.
Marcel, you got to be careful. This shit'll melt your face.
Later, as Noah walks to another room, something or someone looks at him. Meanwhile, another crew member named Shady relaxes in his room with a drink. Suddenly, his bottle fell, and a small creature slipped into his bottle. Unaware that a small creature has slipped into his bottle, he picks it up and keeps drinking. He notices something tastes off. Noah, while restocking supplies, accidentally spills a chemical called Maxicell, which instantly burns through the metal table, showing how dangerous it is. Shady starts getting sick. His stomach begins to ache. Brushing it off, he lights up a smoke with his friend Blue, but the pain intensifies until it becomes unbearable.
What do you mean call chambers?
Shortly after, Shady collapses in agony, screaming, and Blue rushes to calm him down with another drink. It seems to help for a second. Then Shady violently explodes, splattering blood all over the room and Blue. But it didn't stop there. Whatever was inside Shady, still alive, immediately attacks Blue. Elsewhere, Noah wraps up his cleaning duties and tries to reach Clay, but gets no response. So he goes to where Clay is calling for him. He then finds Clay working on a strange mixture using Maxicell. Before Noah can react, a hologram flickers behind him, startling him into thinking he's in trouble. Hearing this, Clay turns and tells Noah to sit, but Noah bolts from the room and runs into T, quickly reporting that Clay is building a bomb.
Clay's making a fucking bomb.
But Clay suddenly appears, and to Noah's shock, T reveals he's working with him. Together, they restrain Noah and take him into custody. Once he's tied up, others also join. Noah tries to explain that he hadn't seen anything. He then tells them the commander already knows about the rebel group that is not happy about them leaving Earth. The group looked at him in confusion.
And if anything happens to me, he's gonna go looking.
Finally, they force him to drink something. It turns out to be moonshine. Clay and his group have secretly been brewing alcohol in violation of ship rules. They're not planning sabotage, just trying to enjoy a drink without Stanley finding out.
If Commander Stanley finds out, we are all looking at a court-martial.
Sometime later, the crew organizes a birthday celebration for Aura. Everyone joins in, drinks flow freely, and eventually Commander Stanley finds out about the hidden alcohol supply. After the celebration, the group sits talking about private stuff. Clay opened up about his heartbreak after the woman he loved married his brother. He then asks what Noah planned on doing once they landed, and Noah shares that he is going to be a butcher.
Butcher.
While this conversation is going on, Aura goes off to search for Blue and finds him working alone, welding in a dim hallway. When he turns to face her, his appearance is terrifying. Without warning, he grabs her and violently slams her head against the wall. Meanwhile, Noah attempts to break into the ship's system to alter his identity records. Clay catches him in the act. Clay orders him to speak up immediately.
I'm giving you 10 seconds before I call Stanley.
Noah confesses he's the father of Admiral Kieran's unborn grandchild. Clay laughed at him because he impregnated the Admiral's daughter. Before Clay can decide what to do, Stanley interrupts over comms, demanding everyone gather.
Clay, goddammit, where are you?
Stanley had discovered what's left of Shady's body. With Blue missing and Aura nowhere to be found since going to look for him, Stanley assumes Blue is behind it. Clay, however, has doubts. They contemplate what could have happened to cause this.
Ortega's also missing.
No, she's not.
She just went looking for Blue.
The crew begins a ship-wide search. During this, Noah notices T staring at the reactor room with unnerving intensity. But when he sees him, he quickly turns around. Not long after, Clay finds Aura's body and calls it in. Noah stumbles upon Blue, who's busy welding the door to the Admiral's private quarters shut. Noah alerts the others, and they arrive quickly, armed and ready. Clay tries to talk Blue down, hoping to resolve it peacefully, but Blue turns, revealing his unusual response. Shortly, Blue snaps and attacks Shu, killing him instantly. The crew opens fire and kills Blue before he can hurt anyone else. The bodies are taken to the infirmary, where Susan begins an autopsy. Stanley orders the remaining crew confined to their quarters. As Susan examines Blue's corpse, she realizes something strange. His body appears to be deteriorating from the inside, almost like it's being eaten away by something. Back in their beds, Noah tries to make conversation with Clay, but he is ignored. When they wake up, Clay realizes they are locked inside. Meanwhile, before beginning her analysis, Susan tries to collect samples from Blue's remains. The substance she finds inside is disturbing and unidentifiable. Even the ship's system can't make sense of it. She continues her autopsy and starts an incision. As she digs deeper, she discovers that all of Blue's internal organs are gone, replaced by a thick black fluid. Elsewhere, T finally locates the missing security footage, showing what really happened to Shady. After watching the footage, Stanley releases Clay from his locked room.
Let's go.
The crew gathers in the infirmary, where Susan explains her findings. A parasite had consumed Blue's organs and taken control of his body. Worse, that parasite is still somewhere on the ship. To make things more alarming, Susan also conducted a head count and found out Noah doesn't belong. Realizing he's a stowaway, Stanley lashes out in anger.
Infect the crew! Then they eat our guts while you sink this shit!
Clay steps in to defend Noah, but Stanley ends up striking him instead of listening. The group begins to piece things together. The parasite likely didn't originate on the ship. It was brought on board, possibly by someone intending to sabotage the mission.
Because somebody had to bring it on board.
Clay suggests waking Admiral Kieran from stasis, but Stanley refuses, pointing out that the Admiral's quarters are sealed and no one can enter without his biometrics. Stanley shifts focus to removing Noah from the ship, but just as they prepare to deal with him, T notices something terrifying. The bodies in the infirmary are gone.
Right. Guys!
Chaos erupts when the reanimated corpses of Blue, Ortega, and Shu ambush the group. Ortega lunges at Noah, while Shu rushes at T, whose weapon proves useless against him. Blue knocks Susan and Clay aside as Shu continues his rampage. Even Stanley's bullets have no effect, and Shu moves in for the kill. Just as Ortega is about to finish off Noah, Susan recovers and manages to grab a nearby weapon. She fires repeatedly, driving the infected attackers back just long enough for the group to make a run for it. As the crew hurries through the corridors, they realize the other sleeping cabins are opening on their own, something only Stanley should be able to control. That's when the horrifying truth comes out. Stanley has also been infected. Now transformed, he's leading a growing horde of reanimated corpses, spreading the infection to the rest of the crew. Clay and the others take shelter in the moonshine storage room, listening in terror as screams and sounds of chaos echo through the halls. It becomes clear that most of the crew is being slaughtered and turned into monsters. Soon, the infected find their hiding place. In a desperate move, Clay grabs a flamethrower and unleashes it, engulfing the attackers in flames. But the fire sets off the ship's suppression system, flooding the room with mist and foam, making it nearly impossible to see. When the group looks around again, the infected are gone. They cautiously exit into the fog-filled corridors. As they move forward, they run into Lincoln, who quickly joins them. Just then, another infected person charges. The group shoots it down, but a second one lunges out of the fog, grabs T, and drags him away. Clay doesn't hesitate. He dashes into the mist to rescue him. The rest of the group lays down cover fire, giving Clay the chance to pull T back to safety.
Someone's coming.
After the dust settles, Lincoln suggests using the escape pods, but since they're still far from New Earth, the rest of the group decides to head for the security bay instead. Lincoln goes on alone and manages to board a pod and launch it into space. Unfortunately, he doesn't realize that an infected crew member has hidden aboard. The moment the pod leaves the ship, the creature attacks and kills him. Back with Clay's group, they finally reach the security bay, only to be ambushed by Stanley, who's now horribly mutated. He grabs Clay and attempts to strangle him with a grotesquely extended tongue.
Working out, Stanley!
Just in time, Noah appears and shoots Stanley down, then helps Clay escape into the bay. Together, they seal the doors behind them. For hours, the infected slam relentlessly against the door of the security bay. Morale starts to crumble, and most of the group considers giving up. But Noah refuses. He won't leave Haley behind.
No, I'm looking out for my family.
That's when he spots the air ducts and realizes there's another way to reach Admiral Kieran. He climbs into the narrow ventilation system, moving slowly and silently while Clay, using a hologram projection, guides him from the security bay.
Take your next 2 lefts. You want to hurry it up, son?
As Noah crawls through the vents, T confesses to Clay and Susan. He admits he's the one who smuggled the parasite onto the ship, a member of the rebel group that believes humanity shouldn't get a second chance. T thought the infection would wipe out the crew quickly. Furious, Clay slams him against the wall, vowing to deal with him once this is over. Suddenly, the infected sense Noah's movement above them. Rotten hands reach through the vent grates, trying to grab him. He kicks them away and keeps pushing forward until he finally makes it to the Admiral's quarters. Without system access, Noah pries open the cryo chamber with a crowbar, managing to wake Admiral Kieran manually. The team quickly fills Kieran in on everything that's happened. They also bring in T.E., who explains that the parasite was something humans brought back. It didn't evolve on its own.
Maybe it was here from before the universe.
Kieran begins reviving his elite team and prepares to regain control. Kieran then realizes Noah is the one who got Haley pregnant.
You're the father. Whoa.
Clay interrupts and tries to cool things down. Kieran lowers his gun, but he makes it clear that they'll be having a conversation about that later. Once fully armed, Kieran and his squad head down the corridor to confront the infected, who are still hammering the security bay door. Some of the creatures notice the approaching team and charge at them, but just as the door opens and the zombies begin to attack Clay's group inside, the revived crew prepares for battle. A brutal shootout erupts as Kieran's team and the survivors try to hold off the infected. At first, the crew gains the upper hand, slowly thinning out the horde, but the zombies start adapting, dodging bullets and rushing into close combat. Chaos takes over as everyone is forced into hand-to-hand fighting. Blue targets Noah and chases him through the corridors, while other infected creatures swarm T, finally tearing him apart. In the supply room, Blue corners Noah and starts beating him mercilessly. Noah tries to fight back, but he's quickly overpowered and slammed to the ground. Just as Blue is about to finish him off, Noah spots a container of MaxiCell. He grabs it and hurls it at Blue, and the chemical instantly dissolves him, finally killing him for good. Noah returns to the main corridor, only to find the battle has gone terribly wrong. Most of the team has fallen. Kieran, wounded and out of options, says his final words to Haley before triggering an explosive device. The blast wipes out the remaining zombies in the area. Clay, Susan, and Noah briefly believe it's all over until the dismembered body parts of the infected start to twitch and reassemble themselves. Horrified, the trio flees to retrieve the moonshine stash. Behind them, the parasite-possessed remains merge into a massive, grotesque mutant. Using Kieran's severed hand, it gains access to the reactor core.
Access to reactor granted.
Suddenly, alarms blare, and the ship begins to tremble. The automated system announces that the estimated arrival time to New Earth is rapidly decreasing. It becomes clear the reactor is overheating, and this was the parasite's plan all along. Blue's attempt to enter the Admiral's quarters earlier wasn't random. It was part of the mission to reach New Earth and wipe out any remaining humans there. Now, with no other choice, the survivors prepare to turn the moonshine into a makeshift weapon. One final shot to stop the monster before it dooms them all.
Talking about 50 million people.
The three of them charge out, armed with their homemade flamethrowers, and begin torching the infected. But the situation quickly worsens. More passengers are waking from cryo-sleep already infected, swelling the horde's numbers dramatically. The infected swarm toward the reactor core, driven by one purpose. The three of them keep attacking them with a flamethrower. Realizing they can't hold them off much longer, Clay orders Noah to find Haley and escape in a pod, while he and Susan stay behind to fight. Noah runs off, dodging zombies and weaving through dark corridors until he reaches the cryo chamber. There, he quickly revives Haley and hands her a weapon. The two share a brief reunion before meeting up again with Clay and Susan to reach the escape pods together. Just as they near their goal, the monstrous mutated zombie appears. It attacks without warning, killing Susan. Enraged, Clay fires the flamethrower at the beast, but is quickly overpowered and killed as well. With only 15 days left before the ship reaches New Earth and the parasite completes its mission, Noah and Haley push forward. A few remaining zombies try to intercept them, but the couple fights them off and reaches the pod bay. Haley climbs into the pod while Noah runs to the controls to initiate the launch. But before he can finish, the mutated zombie returns. Thinking fast, Noah blasts it with the moonshine flamethrower and then shoots the ship's fire suppression system, filling the room with fog once again. In the haze, the creature lands a hit on Noah, knocking him to the ground. Fortunately, he falls near the control panel and manages to start the launch countdown. Summoning his last strength, Noah gets back up and unleashes the remainder of the moonshine, burning away the creature's grotesque mutations until all that's left is the core parasite. Noah hurries to join Haley inside the escape pod just as a final message from Clay comes through. He says his goodbyes and then launches their pod away from the ship. Staying behind, Clay activates the self-destruct sequence, sacrificing himself to destroy the ship, the parasite, and the entire horde in one massive explosion. Moments later, Noah and Haley land on New Earth. At first, the planet appears calm, but as they explore, they encounter a young child, one who is clearly infected. As the child approaches, more danger becomes apparent. A massive creature looms in the distance. Realizing the nightmare isn't over, the couple arms themselves once again, preparing for the next fight.